Hello everyone, welcome to Star Codes. This is Tania Gabrielle, Wealth Astrology and Numerologist, and today we're going to look at the wonderful, exciting, groundbreaking Sagittarius new moon, which happens on November 26th at 3:05 p.m. London, 10:05 a.m. in New York, and 7:05 a.m. in Los Angeles. You don't need to be a Sagittarius to benefit from this forecast because you have Sagittarius somewhere in your birth chart. It rules one of your houses and it certainly is present. So everyone benefits from hearing these lunation forecasts. Now, this Sagittarius new moon is very dynamic. Just like the new moon in Scorpio, where we had the sun and moon opposite Uranus, in this new moon, we have Mars exactly opposite Uranus and the sun and moon Quincunx, which is 150 degrees Uranus. So Uranus figures greatly again, and Uranus is the revolution planet, the breakthrough planet, the let's change it up and bring in new energy planet. So we're going to look at how Mars impacts the forecast, how Uranus impacts the Sagittarius new moon, especially in terms of shifting things in your life, shifting things up and creating new opportunities as a result, and the beautiful connection between the new moon and Chiron, which brings a lot of healing. Also, we will definitely have a theme throughout this forecast, and that's the theme of liberation. So we'll be focusing a lot on how to liberate you from the past as we move shortly into the next decade, the 2020s, which are incredibly powerful and life-changing. And then we'll end, of course, with some wonderful tips on how to leverage the Sagittarius new moon in your professional and personal life. So that's what we're covering today. So new moons always begin a fresh new cycle. They give us an opportunity 12, 13 times a year to start fresh. And the sun and moon this time are at 4 degrees Sagittarius, which is the number of preservation, responsibility, work, physical reality, family, home, manifestation, responsibility, practical outcomes, getting down and getting the work done. So a lot of what you'll be experiencing is the ability to break through the past by actually doing things in a new way. Now, by the 26th of November, which is when the Sagittarius new moon takes place, Mars will have moved to 4 degrees in Scorpio. And if you remember, that's the exact place where the Scorpio new moon took place 4 weeks ago. So this is very powerful. On October 27th, 28th, we had a Scorpio new moon at exactly 4 degrees in Scorpio. That is now where Mars is. And Mars, during this new moon in Sagittarius, is opposite to Uranus. Whereas in the last new moon, we had the sun and moon opposite Uranus. So this means you have to be open to the unexpected. You need to also know that any emotions, Mars is very emotional and instinctual. So there's a sense of having to express your emotions in a healthy way because Mars opposite Uranus can sometimes bring up anything that you might be frustrated about or angry about or resenting in others. And so that means you may, with the Mars-Uranus energy, which is extremely exciting, you may feel impulsive or you may get impatient. And so you need to really redirect that energy of rebellion and impulsiveness into focusing on what your responsibilities are. Remember, the number 4 degrees is about taking charge of what you're responsible for, what you're obligated to do. So this is very, very powerful energy with Uranus and Mars, and especially coming back after 4 weeks in the exact same place in Scorpio. It can be very disruptive. Now, disruptive energy, which I'll go into later when I go into the tips, is actually a good thing when you know how to use it properly. So what you really must do with Uranus in play and Mars being instinct, Uranus being your intuition, is to listen. Listen very, very closely, because Uranus will invent new things in your life, and you need to understand that those new things are not known in your mind. They will come from above. They will come from the divine. They will be channeled through you. So you need to really tune into those intuitive downloads. And if you don't, you will end up feeling nervous, worried, anxious, stirred up, frustrated, right? Because this is very powerful energy. Mars is actually the planet of our physical energy. So this opposition to Uranus, which is the electrifying lightning rod planet, really asks you to bring that intuition into balance. So Mars is action. Mars goes for it. Mars is very sexual. Uranus is opposing Mars, so it's liberating you, firing you up, liberating you in a sexual way too. It is about acting on unusual ideas, being creative, releasing that tension, because any opposition means we're bringing energy into harmony. So you have this urge to break away from anything that feels restrictive, anything that is top-down authority. And that's the big theme now anyways, with the Capricorn stellium coming up in early January, is to actually dismantle top-down leadership so that we have an equal playing field. And we go into energy without this idea of, I have to fight, I have to use anger, I need to be rash, I need to be fighting, which is everything that Mars can do. But the very positive side of Mars is to take a risk, to have a goal and just say, I'm going for it no matter what anybody says. Not to step on toes, but you are going to dissipate this very potent energy surge by planning time for things that are fun and adventurous and that stimulate you in terms of your imagination. And your instinct really is seeking to be heard. So many decisions can be made very quickly at this time, and that will empower you if you really listen and know what to say yes and no to. So prepare for those surprising developments that are going to ask you to step up and make a decision. Embrace things that are out of the ordinary because they're going to take you to a higher level. And just know that you're manifesting powerful changes in your life. So it's a good time really to know your birth code. And you can find out your birth code in a fun, free masterclass at starcodeclass.com. So I highly recommend during this time of great change and upheaval that you get in touch with your soul code. Just go to starcodeclass.com. So the new moon is quincunx to Uranus. Sun and moon are 150 degrees from Uranus, and Uranus is the spontaneity planet. It also brings a lot of self-confidence if you liberate yourself, if you are understanding that freedom is key, freedom of movement, freedom of thought, freedom of how you express yourself. All of those are opening you up in a beautiful way. And the moon will facilitate emotional breakthroughs so that your imagination, your feelings, your heart centers are in the forefront in terms of self-expression. So this can create some breakthroughs that are heart-centered, that are in your love life, that are in your relationships, new things that you want to explore or new understandings. So be open to a situation that can be approached from a different angle, because it'll make a big, big difference if you allow that new energy to flow through you. And that means you need to make some adjustments, course correct, right? You get feedback, you constantly are adjusting, and you're going to be doing so in a rapid manner at this time. Again, always listen to that inner voice for guidance. Those are your guides. That is the divine, that is source. It is always there for you. We forget, I know, everybody does it, but reach out. It is your direct line to enlightenment and love and intelligence. And it comes from a place of such divine wisdom, and it's there for you at all times. So if there's anything you take away from today, it is to just make sure you engage with the higher vibration that is there for you, your guides, source, God, whatever you want to name it. Now, like I said, the sun and moon are forming a beautiful trine to Chiron. And Chiron is our sacred healer planet. So that means with the trine, a lot of healing is enhanced. There's a lot of tenderness. It allows you to feel very connected in a very sweet way to others. It allows you to tune into people more deeply. Chiron is very, very much connected to love and healing through love. So that means there's a lot of positive energy here to help you move through some patterns in your life, whether they're from past lives, whether they're karmic, whatever they are, you actually have an opportunity here to respond to life in a new way, to respond to others in a new way, with compassion, with your heart, right? With wisdom. And it also encourages you to be very creative, to take a creative view of your life, of the universe, to be aware of your inner power and how it aligns to a higher power. Your sense of purpose is enhanced. You respond to spiritual matters in a much more aligned way because it makes sense intrinsically, like you just know it in your gut. So this allows you then, because you're in service to the divine, to be of service to others. And that is really a very powerful nourishment, the most powerful nourishment we can have, because it brings ultimate healing. And that's what Chiron is about. Now, also aspecting Chiron at this time are Venus and Jupiter. They are merged together in a conjunction, and they're forming a square to Chiron. And when Jupiter squares a planet, it actually is a very positive activation as long as you act on it. Squares are motivating, right? So this means that you see yourself in the universe in a more expansive way. So again, the experiencing of new things allows you to actually heal without even realizing what's going on. So the openness to a brand new way, a brand new perspective, an expanded view, a bird's eye view, the Jupiter, complete acknowledgement of the whole picture brings tremendous healing and also changes your beliefs. You have new perspectives about what your beliefs are. Your meditative practices are enhanced as well. Knowledge through education is enhanced. Jupiter rules higher education. And that all restores peace in your life. It brings personal relationships into harmony because you're open to healing those old wounds, and you're open to extending your compassion through Chiron by being very generous to others. Now, when Venus squares Chiron, it means you need to very much confront any fear of rejection. So that is not only in your personal relationships with which Venus rules, but also rejection in terms of money. Venus governs our abundance, our financial flow. So focus on who you are at soul level so that you don't give away your power, because that's where that fear of rejection comes from, is where you're giving away something that actually is intrinsically yours, and because of a fear of expressing it, you are undermining your own ability to succeed and projecting what you are here to do onto others. And that can be very complicated, right? So you want to get into that place where you allow your divine inspiration to empower you, to move you, to shift open your heart, to break through any barriers that are there, that obviously are there to be broken now with Uranus in play. And allow beauty and pleasure. Venus, everything to do with love, right? Venus is about that abundance, that joy that we take in beautiful things, and allow that to imbue your life. So how can we take advantage of this Sagittarius new moon? So as it happens, there are a couple of other incredible transits that are taking place. And I'll start with Venus conjunct Jupiter, because we just looked at Venus and Jupiter square Chiron. Venus conjunct Jupiter is one of the most fortunate, lucky, good transits in terms of romance and love and abundance flowing, and just everything to do with expansion of what feels good. Your inner creative artist is stimulated. You want to experience culture. You want to experience music. You want to experience uplifting entertainment. And this can be your I'm in love moment, or I'm in love with life. I'm just so happy to be alive. Thank you so much. Very, very filled with gratitude and joy moment here. You just feel really lucky. Now, the other two transits that are happening during this Sagittarius new moon, very dynamic, is Venus trine to Uranus and Jupiter trine to Uranus. So again, this conjunction between Venus and Jupiter that's so fortunate is trining the planet of liberation. So your sense of independence is incredibly strong. I mean, there's so much going on here in terms of exploring new options and starting new creative projects and looking at new financial windfalls and being open to experiment and honoring who you are in a unique way, as well as everybody else, because we're all different. We all see life from our own perspective, and there's no reason to feel like you're right and they're wrong and vice versa. So to just be really excited about the differences and embrace them. And Jupiter trine to Uranus brings unexpected windfalls. You just feel super optimistic because you can sense, I can create successful outcomes. I have it in me to broaden my perspective and invite new breakthroughs, new opportunities, to break through boundaries, to create positive changes in my life, and also to learn quickly. I mean, we're all constantly learning. We're students of life. And so we are in a place now with Jupiter trine to Uranus, inspiration and expansion and higher education, to learn more about other cultures or new languages or art or music or anything that is connected to creative expression. So there's a wonderful sense of adventure here that helps you acclimate and anticipate a new future, to see beyond the horizon, to have results in play that totally are unexpected and truly magnificent, and envisioning those, holding those in your heart. Again, it helps to know your code. So check out your masterclass that I created. Again, it helps to know your birth code. So check out your Astrology and Numerology star code at starcodeclass.com. It'll really take you to a place where you can just understand who you are at soul level based on your birthday, your birth name, and we also go into your astrology chart. It's a really fun class. So just head over to starcodeclass.com. So now let's go to the tips and takeaways on how to make the most out of this extraordinary Sagittarius new moon, with all the amazing situations between Mars being at the same place as the previous new moon and Uranus forming another powerful opposition, and Venus and Jupiter forming a conjunction, and Chiron forming a trine. There's so much magnificent energy here. So I mentioned earlier I'm going to go into disruption. Now, disruption doesn't have to be negative. When you disrupt the same old patterns, you're doing yourself a great service, because you allow new possibilities, new directions, new answers to emerge. So you're interrupting something that actually is stale, right? That is the sign of somebody who is alert and present and wise and observant. So this energy is very much about that kind of inner awakening. So upheaval breaks new ground, and it allows you, because you're breaking new ground and seeing a new vista and noticing new things, to do what seemingly before was impossible. And that's the whole point. You would never even grasp your potential to grow without disruption. So this is an important thing to understand with Uranus, because Uranus will always cause some kind of surprise, and the surprise sometimes can feel very disruptive. So when something like that happens in your life, take it as a wonderful invitation from Source, connected to your soul, to tell you, hey, you're ready. You're ready to create an interruption to what you thought was, the way to be right now, and you're going somewhere else. We're going to take you somewhere else because you need to see a new vista from a new mountaintop. So that means you need to be excitedly engaged in a new future. And if you're excitedly engaged, it means you're doing more. So you have to understand that action is key. And excellence happens in what you do for the next few minutes. So don't plan to do something, weeks from now or next week or next month or next year even. Do it now. Do it in the next few minutes, or at least put it on your schedule. As soon as you get inspired to do it is the best time to just move forward. Do things that were previously unimaginable. this energy with Jupiter is very, very expansive. It takes you to where you haven't been before. You're seeing things for the first time. You're being educated about new vistas, and they inspire you to do something in a new way. So take advantage of that. Be alert, be watchful, learn to follow that inner voice, your instinct, your intuition. Focus on what piques your interest. Focus on what you're curious about, because it'll allow you to go to places that if you're only operating on being different, or if you're only operating on being driven and willful, you can't go to those places. You will never go to that new vista. You have to listen to that inner voice, because that curiosity, that intuition will take you to where you need to go. And that inner voice also helps you decide what to choose, because you have moments where you have to say no and moments where you say yes. And they can be big and small moments, but you have to take them seriously. They all make a difference, right? So it's your ability to listen, to wait quietly, to receive that answer for the right moment to happen, for the right moment to appear, rather than rushing forward aimlessly just because you think you should be doing something. So the liberation really is an understanding that there's always something to unlock or unblock. If you understand that there's always something to unlock or something to remove a blockage, unlock and unblock, that is what you need to meditate on, is removing the blocks and opening up the gateway to unlock your next moment. And if you're afraid of moving forward, meditate on instilling your heart with courage. Because if Uranus and Mars and the Sagittarius new moon say anything, it is about moving to a new, beautiful life. Understanding that it is there for you, but you do have to participate in creating it. You do have to engage. You do have to be there fully committed to who you are at soul level. You truly have to understand that by setting yourself free, you are becoming godlike. You are becoming divine. You are divine to begin with, but you've fallen asleep. It's like falling asleep at the wheel and the car is driving aimlessly. It's stopping at the red stoplights. It's moving through the green, but it doesn't have a map. It doesn't have an intuitive sense of, I'm moving towards something really fantastic, something greater than I can ever imagine. And that's what you tune into when you trust your intuition. So go to that place, listen to that inner voice, move forward when you're prompted to, intuitively, and you will be on your way to making the last weeks of 2019 magnificent, and you will create that incredible, wonderful platform to lift off for the 2020s. So I'm really thrilled to share this with you. And again, I remind you to discover your own star code at starcodeclass.com. It's a wonderful free masterclass, which I think you'll really love. Have a wonderful Sagittarius new moon. And as usual, I will meet up with you again in a week for star codes. Lots of love.